Welcome to my new English story, Teacher's Pest. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel English Stories with Amelia. The postman's rare visits were a special event in the life of this remote village. Children ran behind his cycle as he merrily tinkled his bell right to the doorstep of the recipient. "It's for me," I wondered, my curiosity rising. Who could have written to me? Ever since I settled down in this fishing village called Kaup, the rest of the world seemed to have forgotten my existence. I had inherited this cottage from my ancestors, who were fisher folk. While still a baby, I was taken away to Mumbai after the death of both my parents. It stood locked up and neglected until I decided to come here after my retirement. The locals still consider me an outsider, even though they had willingly helped renovate the place and make it habitable. I wonder if it's good news or bad, I thought as I nervously tore open the envelope. My hands trembled a wee bit as I adjusted the spectacles on my nose. "Dear Teacher," it read, "isn't it surprising that at this hour of crisis, when my courage is literally in my boots and the next second may be my last, my thoughts turn to you. Self-distrust is the cause of our failures," you said. "They are the weakest who have no faith in themselves or their powers. But for your guidance, I might never have reached this far in life. I should have said this years ago. Thank you, dear teacher. Oni." The letter was posted in February. It was now October. It had been sent to the school where I worked till retirement. Someone had redirected it to my address in Mumbai. From there it had traveled at snail's pace to this village. In all my 40 years as a teacher, not one single student had come back to say, "Thank you. Ryan, I thought." You of all people remembered, and that too after all these years. I remembered him as a beautiful boy. His Anglo-Indian origin gave him his good looks, light eyes and a cherubic face, but he was a scamp nevertheless. He always reminded me of a cat waiting to spring. I was Ryan's class teacher in Class V. All he was good at was mimicry. He could sing, dance, imitate, but when it came to studies, he had zero concentration. "Don't you ever want to make something of your life?" I would ask. "Oh, yes. I want to be an engine driver like my father." "But you need some education even for that," I argued. "Unless you want to become an engine cleaner." "No fears," he said. "I want to drive my engine like a lord, with 23 bogies behind, gliding effortlessly over the rails. Oh, what a day that'll be. Then study for goodness sake. Start with elementary mathematics, and stop counting on your fingers and toes. Do it in your mind." "I can't. My mind is filled with other lovely things. No place for ugly numbers." Ryan's education became a challenge. I forced him to stay back after class hours for extra coaching in maths and English. He hated my persistence. "You got your fangs into me," he'd snarl. "Why must I learn English when it is my mother tongue? Because what you speak is pidgin. It's a disgrace to the English language." By the end of the year, he knew I was not his enemy. That grueling year of discipline forged a bond between us. Though he moved on to higher classes, he'd always come to me with his problems, not all of them academic. The pimples on his face, the croak in his voice, the strange quivering of his heart when a particular girl sat next to him. I was privy to all his adolescent secrets. But, like most of the children who graduated from school and went their different ways, I never saw Ryan again. Every year there were a few like Ryan who needed extra attention. A teacher's work was a rewarding one as long as there were no expectations of gratitude. Now here I was, holding Ryan's letter in my hand, and wondering how he had remembered an old teacher who had outlived her usefulness. He said he was in the midst of a war with a neighboring country. He was writing from a bunker in Kargil, with gunfire reverberating around him. I've always wanted to come and say thank you in person, but I kept putting it off for a better day. Isn't it strange how memories of people and incidents flash through your mind when you know that time is running out for you? I want you to know that I didn't become an engine driver, but this is far more exciting. I'm a soldier fighting for my country, trying to be brave like you taught me, and doing my very best. Farewell, dear teacher. The writing blurred before my tear-filled eyes. I must write to him at once. I thought, he must know how much this letter means to me. I took out my best stationery, a light blue sheet with a scent of spring. My hands trembled, but I managed to scribble a few lines in my spidery writing. He would never know how gnarled my fingers were, and how wrinkled the skin on my arms. Perhaps he still thought of me as the prim school mistress I once was, the bane of his growing years. Dear boy, your letter brought me so much happiness. Of the thousands of students I have taught in my 40 years of service as a teacher, you are the only one who has bothered to say thank you. You brought joy to an old woman. Be courageous even at this moment, and never yield to the enemy. I sent the letter carrier of the Army Post Office, and prayed that it would reach him soon. I would often spend my evenings sitting on a massive rock which jutted into the sea, with the old lighthouse looming over me. As I watched the sunset, my thoughts would sometimes turn to Ryan. Was he alive or dead? Did my letter ever reach him? There were many casualties at Kargil. The papers kept reporting the number who were wounded or killed. I remembered the naughty little boy with shirt tails flying and shoelaces undone, restless, argumentative, but always lovable. I used to call him Teacher's Pest. Almost a year later, as I sat watching the sunset, I heard a commotion some distance away. I turned to see a group of urchins trailing a thin, lanky man in army uniform. They were approaching me. "Teacher!" he yelled from a distance, waving my dog-eared blue envelope. "I'm back from the war, and like you ordered, I never yielded." As I hugged him, I thought of what Henry Adams once said, "A teacher affects eternity. She can never tell where her influence stops." Eva Bell,